it's hello.
Oh.
Hello? Like that?
Welcome to part 2.0 of an initially intended 2-part video series that now actually has 3 parts, 1.0, 1.5 in the video you're currently watching, because I suck at forward planning and have about the same amount of talent naming stuff as the guy that came up with Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Xbox X in that order. When you last saw me, I was losing my friggin' gourd over some feedback I received from my friends who played in a D&D style game I created on Tabletop Simulator featuring samurai frogs. You should watch what led up to that outburst if you haven't already, or not. I'm not your real dad. And believe me, I know it's not exactly cash money of me to lose my cool like that, even if I do think games like Dungeons & Dragons are almost like small, fucked up Cold War era social experiments designed to shatter what little remains of the human soul and psyche. But it was important to me to show you how interactions at the table aren't always sunshine and rainbows, and that being frustrated doesn't automatically make you an evil piece of garbage. So, in this final episode, we're going to take a step back and try to understand what led to the events at the end of the last video, and how a realization I came to changed my view of the tabletop role-playing game I created, causing me to do something you wouldn't expect. Oh, and make sure to listen all the way till the end for some cool announcements. But again, I'm not your biological father. Go away. Just leave me alone to die. Come on, dude, stop being a baby. The last session could have just been a fluke. You've put way too much work into this thing not to sack up and try again. And who knows, maybe folks will love the game this time if you just make a few small changes. And if they don't, then you can go back to hating yourself and wallowing in self-pity. It's a win-win. Okay, fine, but this time I'm gonna rip this damn thing down to its bare bones and see if literally anything I've done so far is actually worth a shit. Movement and distance tools, gone. Shitty combat mechanics, get out of here. And anything else that was intended to make things more fun but isn't necessary to play the actual game, including the UI, crafting tables, inventory chests, dice rollers, loot system, and Magic Monkey.
Bye-bye. See you later.
Fuck it, we won't even play the game inside Tabletop Simulator. I'll just project my damn screen onto a wall so the group has a reference and the maps and models I've made don't completely go to waste, and then I'll move the characters around for them. I swear to dog, this better work, I'm going to lose my mind. Hello? Wait. It worked? Okay. Cool. So what does that mean exactly? Did I waste my time building all this other stuff? Was it all a lie? That's so dramatic. All right, let's think for a minute and try to figure out what might have changed. Well, for one, the players didn't commit Sudoku by exploding barrel this time, so that's nice. Now that I think about it, this group handled pretty much every situation differently than the first one. Okay, Zebras. Zebras okay. So what are you trying to say? Are you seriously blaming the first play group for the game going poorly and not your crappy game design?
Well, no. And yes.
All right, geez. The serious answer is that I think the players played a They role-played. I think the players had a little something to do with it. Let's break it down. If you've been watching the series up to this point, hopefully you know by now that I'll be the first to say that the games I make are doo-doo stinky poo-poo for a lot of reasons. Example? For instance, the combat system I came up with for the Samurai Frog game is complete and utter dog shit. I wanted so badly for players to feel like they were cling-clanging their katanas together like Sekiro with perfectly timed strikes, blocks, and parries, but it ended up just becoming a boring rock-paper-scissors minigame that usually resulted in a draw. On top of that, design decisions I thought would only improve what other TTRPGs had already done would actually fundamentally change how players would engage with the world I had made. The 3D map was gorgeous to look at, yet it surprisingly made players less imaginative when interacting with their environment than if it was just a handful of 2D shapes drawn on a whiteboard. Adding in the UI sped up the gameplay like crazy, creating way more time for roleplay, but it also made players approach the world in a more video gamey mindset, where they would try to kill almost everyone, frantically loot their pockets like a greedy green goblin, and pack their inventories full of items they would never even think to use. So the way I built the game absolutely had an effect on how things played out, and it makes me wonder how virtual tabletops like the upcoming One D&D will fare in the future. However,
Hold on to your butts.
the shocking realization I came to after game mastering for a different party is that the success or failure of a TTRPG's gaming experience is largely based on the social dynamic of the group playing, rather than the design and mechanics of the game itself. Okay, yeah, you might be thinking, no shit, you vaguely numbered zebra bitch. But this was surprising to me, considering we had an awesome session 0 explaining what players could expect, how everyone got really involved, and said they were happy and excited to be there. Sincerely, it made complete sense to me that an okay game master running a TTRPG with a halfway decent game design, along with players that wanted to play it, would result in a pleasant gaming experience.
Yeah, weird.
The reality is that some players are indecisive, don't pay attention, make dumb decisions, aren't willing to work as a team, get annoyed with each other when even the smallest thing goes wrong, or are already upset for reasons outside of the game entirely. The list goes on and on. One of the things I noticed often in the first play group is how if one of the players got pissed off for whatever reason, they would go into what I like to call
Fuck it mode.
and start intentionally zoning out, taking stupid actions, fighting with other members of the party, and blaming me or the game's design for things not going the way they wanted them to. No, dude, you can't kill another member of the party.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
This is not me trying to push blame off myself either. I'm only trying to say that I think it's vital to realize you can't design human nature out of a game. You can encourage good behavior for sure, and hopefully you can tell from past videos that I've done my best to apply the feedback I've received to make sessions as fun as possible. Yet I have no doubt that I'll get a comment or two saying, "Hey man, don't be a dick. Games like D&D are all about communication, communication, communication." And I completely agree. At the same time, I firmly believe there are some problems out there that no amount of talking or kindness can solve, especially if the other person doesn't view them as a problem to begin with. From the start, I fell into the trap of thinking if I just communicated a little better, or I refined this process a little more, I could force everyone to have a good time and just get along. When the truth of the matter was, I personally had very little social control over if the party enjoyed themselves, and simply removing some of the extras and making a few player substitutions made a night and day difference in the level of fun experienced at the table. All of a sudden, players were making plans as a team on how to approach difficult situations, helping each other out if another player got a little in over their head, and laughing when things went wrong, instead of toggling into the dreaded
Fuck it mode.
I'll bring this back on myself again and say that I went just a little bit crazy over the last 10 months with how far I took the whole game mastering thing. I positively would not recommend other people do what I did. Nevertheless, a lot of beautiful things came out of this project that I couldn't be more happy about. Because of this process, I learned how to code and came up with ideas that I think are insanely useful, like adding in a ready up button and automated loot system to make playing virtually more streamlined. It made me become a better friend, game master, designer, and leader. And last, and most definitely not least, it gave me a cool story to tell strangers on YouTube. But remember, putting a game together this in-depth is absolutely not needed to create a ridiculously fun experience for you and your friends to play through. And it would break my heart if I found out someone thought the game they were running isn't good enough unless they go to the same links that I have. Some of my favorite sessions of all time were run with a single D20, a pen, a notebook, no character sheets, and a couple of good friends. Please, only let this video series inspire you to try new things and share work you're proud of with others. And do not let your creativity be diminished by people who say that what you're doing is extra, too much, or going overboard. Although TTRPGs are typically a group activity, I want to be clear by pointing out that I didn't build these mods to impress anyone or get people to like me. I did it because I wanted to. The joy of creation is a dopamine hit like no other, but that doesn't mean I wanted to write a book. You can't play a book with other people on the weekends. Of course, I wanted my friends to enjoy what I made because I hoped it would be something we could all share. But the harsh truth is that the people you want to play in your game and the people that will actually enjoy it may not be the same. You gotta fit the players to your game or fit the game to your players. And even then, it may not work out like you thought because the people in your group, including the GM, may not play well together. Okay, man, thanks for the philosophy lesson. I'll be sure to sing Kumbaya and say 3 Hail Marys before I leave. But what's gonna happen to the mods? You know, the reason we're all watching this video? Right, so several of the things I've already mentioned, along with how the original intention of the mods was for personal use, are just some of the reasons why I feel it would be tough to release this game publicly as a playable mod on the Steam Workshop. I could upload all the maps, models, and gadgets, but would that really be giving you the game that I've described? It's like a lunatic who made a plane out of parts he found at the junkyard, giving you the plane, and then telling you to fly it without explaining how to use any of the thousands of busted buttons, cracked dials, and blinky lights. Basically what I'm saying is, I'm still uncertain if releasing the mods in their natural form is what I'm going to do.
What?
Hold on, don't freak out. I still plan on uploading a lot of this stuff, but what I really would love is to hear what you think I should do with the mods I've built and play some sessions with you, the viewer. So what I've done is made a Discord server where you can get notifications for the mods you want to hear about, sign up to play in sessions hosted by your boy About 15 Zebras, and have a dedicated place where you can talk about all things gaming related, as well as hopefully meet others that are interested in the same things. To me, the stories and sense of community you get from participating in games of this genre is what makes them so special. I can't tell you the stats or level design of past encounters, but what I can vividly remember is how my friend playing a dashing knight tried to stop a frightened child from crying by giving a heroic speech, rolling a natural 1, resulting in him accidentally terrifying the child and scarring it for life. In conclusion, it's not the destination or the design of the game you're trying to create that truly matters. It's the journey of hating what you've made, building something new, kicking your friends out of the group, finding new players to replace them, feeling like a failure, realizing it wasn't all that bad after all, and sharing the weird story online with people you've never met along the way. I want you to know it means the world to me that so many of you have enjoyed hearing about this wild journey I went on over the past year, and that I tried my best to keep things as interesting as possible for people who may not even like D&D, like my good old Daddy-O. The ending of this series isn't as fun and lighthearted as I'm sure you expected it to be, but it's the honest truth, and I'm sincerely glad you came along for the ride. And take heart, my zebra child, but this is not the end of our journey together. I've got some exciting ideas for how I want to include all you filthy animals into a bunch of future projects, and I hope you'll stick around for a few video topics I'd like to cover that aren't specifically about making goofy D&D mods on Tabletop Simulator. If you've made it with me through this entire series, first of all, thank you, but I would also love to hear what your favorite parts from the videos were down below in the comments. I'm still getting the hang of this YouTube stuff, so I'm not quite sure what exactly about my channel appeals to viewers. That being said, it would be really interesting to know what resonated with you. That way I can focus on that in future uploads. I don't mean to fish for compliments, just want to make things as dope as possible. See you in the next one, Zebro.